Welcome, kids. It's been a while to Conflicting Dynasties. We were away for who knows how long. Who cares? We're back to do an unboxing, revealing of Disciples of the Void for L5R to show you which cards are good and which cards are bad.
Now, to be clear, for the purpose of this video, we're trying to keep this shit under an hour. So what we're going to do is we have two colors. There's red and there's green. In short, the cards worth talking about are going to be green cards. The cards not worth talking about are going to be red cards. And we're going to try to just burn through all of them. We didn't rehearse any of this, so it's all off the cuff. It's more gut reactions, what we've seen in both L5R, what works and what doesn't work, and also we played enough other card games that we know what degenerate card effects look like, and we'll go from there. So we'll start with the first degenerate card, which is Stronghold. So the way the Stronghold works says, during a conflict, bow this Stronghold, play an event from your conflict discard pile as if it were in your hand, then remove the event from the game.
Why'd you put this in green? What's so great about it?
It's broken as hell. Like, you can take any spell card and you have 6 of them in your deck. So like Against the Waves is already one of the more busted cards in the game. You just get 6 of them. And that alone is justification to not make this card. And then it's like, oh, well, why don't we just make more spell cards? Like, the more spell cards that get introduced to the game, the more insane this card's going to look. And it doesn't have any other drawbacks. It still gives you 11 honor, still gives you 10 influence, still gives you 7 resources. So it's just pure value.
So you're talking about it from a combo potential. It's very broad in what you can do with it.
Yeah, like, well, think about it this way. If they made this card in Magic the Gathering, how many pro players would instantly quit? You know, like I think that's a good way to look at it.
That's your level of totally overpowered, shouldn't have been made to is not even worth being a land card.
Yeah, it's like, let's say Magic the Gathering made a card, 3 mana, and it says, focus this card to play any blue spell from your grave. Like, people would lose their shit if that card were made. And that's what this does. Like, the limitation's very minimal, and it's recursion, and more importantly, just from, like, even on a base perspective, it just gives you a card a turn, if nothing else. Like, so even if, like, the spell cards aren't that good, as long as spell cards are playable, as long as there's any amount of playable spell cards that you can have one spell card in your hand at all times, particularly turn 1, then you can always have one additional card that you could play per turn via the Stronghold. And it's just, that's why Scorpion's so strong. Their Stronghold effectively just gives them a card every turn. And other factions can't really compete with that sort of value. And it's pushed them so far ahead. This Stronghold has a similar problem that it's probably going to be bad with the card pool as it is now, and it's just going to keep getting worse. Like, I'm not a fan.
So here's a must play.
Yeah.
And you're saying it's going in the Scorpion decks?
Well, you can. It's Phoenix Cardinal.
No, I mean Splash Scorpion?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying it functions similar to Scorpion in terms of pure value.
Okay. What do we got next?
This one I actually don't know where to put it, so we'll put it in the middle.
Oh.
All right.
And undecided.
New province. It's a Phoenix province, so it would take over the spot of what's it called? What's the one that's called that pulls fate off of dudes?
I forget.
I forget too. I don't remember the names of any of these cards. I just remember what they do with their pictures. So one health, can't be the Stronghold, and what it does is when you're resolving a conflict at this province, characters count their glory instead of their skills. So in order to break it, you just need to have one more glory than your opponent.
Okay. Which,
I mean, I think when I first saw it, I thought it was broken, but then I looked at it again. I'm like, wait, if they just unopposed attack it, it blows up to basically anything.
What is this keyword? Does that say shrine?
Yeah.
Is that I haven't seen one of those before.
There's some holdings that have the shrine keyword, but they don't.
Nothing really interacts with that word yet.
Not yet. I don't know. I'm sure some Phoenix players will play the card, but I think you'd have to use the other Stronghold, the one that buffs up glory values, to really justify playing that card. And you'd also have to play really defensively because you can't let unopposed attacks through, because then random derps can just go break it with no assistance.
So this card is situational based on what you're playing.
Yeah, and I'd lean towards here just because we actually spent some amount of time talking about it. So go with that.
What's next?
Hey, look, a new role card. So if you don't like Keeper and Seeker, you now have one other option. Support of the Phoenix. You increase your reserve or your influence by 8.
How
But
does
you
this
can
work in
only
tournament play?
you use it instead of the Keeper or Seekers. They haven't officially said that, but you have a designated Keeper and Seeker role. Presumably, with each one of these packs, you'd have the support of the blank. So you'd have 7 options there, or 6, I guess, and then also have your Keeper and Seeker role.
It works in conjunction with that?
No, you pick one or the other.
Oh.
So if you don't,
so right now you can't play it in tournament.
no, you can play it. You just if you play this, you're not playing your designated role.
Oh.
So now you effectively have 2 roles. You have your Keeper/Seeker, and you have Support of the Phoenix. But Support of the Phoenix, the extra influence only works on Phoenix cards.
All right.
So it gives you 5 more influence than a Keeper role, but you don't get to use any of the Keeper cards, any of the new Keeper cards here, or the old Keeper cards. So.
And this card's a 50-50 right now?
Here. I don't know. The problem is, like, I think it's inherently good. I just what clan splashes Phoenix right now?
Yeah,
Like,
nobody does that.
I can't think of any relevant deck that splashes Phoenix. Maybe with these new cards, things will change. Like because there's some pretty powerful stuff in here that's changes the dynamics of deck building. But until then, it's very barely a green.
All right.
You want to talk about this card at all?
Is it that bad you immediately put it in red? Do we need to comment on it?
It lets you steal the favor. Whatever. It's dumb. We have more important cards to talk about.
Will it work with combos that require you to use the favor?
Yeah, but I mean, Phoenix has like a ton of dudes that have glory. All right.
Okay.
What do you think about this card? I know people are very split on it. So, Pacifist Philosopher. Reaction. After a player passes on declaring a conflict, gain 1 fate, limit twice per round.
Anything that gives you fate is amazing.
Yeah, so that's where the debate is. It's like, is this guy a valuable enough resource engine or not? Like, let's say I go first, right? And you're second. I could play this guy with, say, 1 fate on him. So it costs me 3 mana to put him into play. Then, first conflict, I just pass. So now I get a fate. So now it effectively only costs me 2 to put him into play.
Phoenix does want to pass.
Yeah, and then so now if you attack, let's say even if you make both of your attacks, if I just pass on my second attack, which is not totally unreasonable for really grindy Phoenix decks.
So then you got a free guy.
Yeah, well, for the next turn, I have a guy that can effectively pay for himself. He also still a body, he has a glory, but on the other hand, his stats suck, so if you're up against someone that's looking to play a little faster, or if you yourself want to play faster.
Well, I guess if you're playing stall and you want to keep this guy around for 3 turns, he'll definitely be worth the cost.
Yeah, like you put 2 fate on him or something. But
at that point, you're paying 4.
Yeah, so you need to have him around all of those turns and be stalling hardcore, and your opponent would need to also kind of be stalling. Oof. In order to get full value. So I lean towards bad, but there is a case to be made that he's good.
Well, we'll see if that guy pops up.
He's good.
Instantly.
Yeah. Cards without limits, bad idea. I just don't make cards without limits. You should always have a limit on cards.
Why is this unlimited?
So after you play a spell card during a conflict, until the end of the conflict, this character gains +1 military and +1 political. So he's a 2/1 for 2, so his stats are a little bit low. But if you play 3 spells in a conflict, he all of a sudden has 5 military strength.
Oh, that's good.
And the spells don't have to target him; they just need to be spells, and it's spell cards. So you could you throw a cloud on one guy, you untap another one with Against the Wave, and then you play one other spell, and then boom, this guy's just wrecking a province.
Okay, I'm sold.
Yeah. He's gonna be the nut. She's probably my favorite card out of this whole pack.
Really? Who's this?
She's a cost reduction piece, possibly broken. So her ability is during a conflict. She doesn't have to be participating. Just during a conflict, each card that has a trait that matches the element of the contested ring has its cost to play reduced by 1. So I like it because it's a mirrored effect. So if it's an air challenge, you can play your cloud of mine for free, but I can also play it for free. And she doesn't have to participate, so you can use this up to 4 times per turn, provided that you're able to sequence your different element cards correctly. So in like a Phoenix versus Phoenix match, she can be reducing all over the place. But if like your opponent has no cards that have any sort of elemental traits on them, then she's only providing value for yourself.
So I'm sensing a theme in this where they're trying to reduce or refund you fate.
Yeah, they could be trying to make it more aggro, the game, because the game's really grindy right now.
Yeah, it does tend to slow.
Yeah, it's just and like it's good for like good players who like that type of thing, but it's like super feels bad for bad players because then it's like, oh, I'm just gonna go and get wrecked for 15 minutes against somebody.
All right, so Inquisitive Ishika. She's a keeper.
All right, I don't know what to think of this one.
Fire Elemental Guard.
Yeah. So during a conflict in which you have played 3 or more spell cards, choose an attachment, discard that attachment. But you can't throw attachments on her except for spell attachments. Because like there's some spell attachment cards.
Does Phoenix have a lot of spell attachments?
Not a ton, but they have a couple. But it's more just because she needs spell cards to activate. I mean, would you play this card?
That seems very situational.
Yeah.
Yeah, the more limitations a card has, the less likely it is to hit the table.
Now, it does give Phoenix access to enhancement destruction. So, like Phoenix doesn't like having Cloud the Mind on them, but they might not always want to be splashing Let Go, so maybe you play her to deal with it. I just don't know if like Phoenix is playing enough spells to use her properly.
I'm leaning towards red.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards that too. Use Bouncer.
5 Fire Elemental Guard.
All right. I think this is your dude right here. He's a monk, so a little weird, but while this character is defending, opponent's card effects cannot move it, and it has an action ability. When this character is defending, choose another participating character. Until the end of the conflict, set this character's base political and military skill to the chosen character's current skill values.
That's a wordy mofo.
So, like, you just mirror a dude.
Huh.
So it's like...
Did they just make a clone?
Basically.
Oh, wow.
I think the clone is this whatever this thing is in the background of him.
No, I mean clone from Magic.
Oh.
Pretty much the same cost and stats, too.
Well, what's key about him is that he gets the base value. So there are certain cards that interact with the card's base value. So if like I have a guy in a conflict and I use Bonsai on him, my guy has say, 2 base stat plus 4. Your guy just has a base 6 stat.
And he just copies the base. Yeah. That could be pretty good. Kaito Temple Protector. I agree that should be in the green.
Defending. Now, there's this guy. He's a guy I think most people have complained about online.
Isawa Tadaka?
Yeah. Raiden.
Lightning.
So each opponent cannot play copies of event cards that are in his or her conflict discard pile unless they have the Earth Ring. So
anybody that's rocking, 7 fine katanas or whatever. Yeah.
Well, you can still play the fine katanas. You can't play like Court Games.
It's only events.
Court Games, Charge, Way the Scorpion, Miyamoto's Fury.
Yeah.
Way the Crane. Way the Crane especially. That's a dick move card to not let them be able to chain off. Because that's a big part of their strategy and how they play.
Yeah.
To just lock them out of that.
He's really expensive, and you're going to have to devote him to military. But I can see him messing some combo decks up.
He doesn't hurt you.
Yeah.
Which is super mean. Like, he should be a symmetrical effect, I think.
Yeah.
I think if he was symmetrical, he wouldn't be that bad.
I don't know. If you're paying 5 for him, I can understand why it's not symmetrical.
You just get that card advantage too, because like if you play, like let's say you pay 5 and you throw like 3 fate on them like mid game, and your opponent's already played a couple event cards. Now like fuck, what do I do? You know, I'm not a huge fan of that design, but I do think like I have a deck that's just like really grind central Phoenix that he's gonna fit right in there. Just to like try to like make it so people can't play cards.
Well, if you've got the resources, yeah, I can see.
Yeah, you just drag the game out. This is where like remember the other dude that like they pass a conflict, you get a fate. You can play them together in the same style of deck where it's like I'm not even gonna try to attack for the first 3 or 4 turns and then
You're really stalling out at that point.
I play the deck. The deck kicks ass, man. It's horribly unfun for the other player.
Yeah. A lot of grindy decks are like that.
The bird. So, no attachments. It's a 6/6 for 6, but that's not the important part. The important part is when this character leaves play, choose a Phoenix character in your Dynasty discard pile and put that character into play with 1 fate on it.
Fushicho. Huh.
And you can charge him in.
That's really expensive.
No, I'm saying you charge him in.
What you can charge anybody in, but so it's combo dependent. I like that it has a 0 honor.
0 glory.
Glory.
Yeah, it'll just go in there and it wrecks. Would you pay the full 6 for him just for stats?
Gotta be desperate.
But one thing that people noted with the ruling on this is that while it comes into play with a fate, he leaves play before the fate's actually like removed. So, your new guy that you bring in would lose a fate in the fate phase. So you only get the new guy for 1 turn, but you still do get this dude. So it's like, here, I'm gonna charge in this guy, and I get a free clan champion to play for next turn.
All right.
Yeah. But he's another mid game card. He's also probably wants to be in the same deck with Raiden.
Wow, that's a really expensive deck.
All right. So you got a new holding.
Secluded Shrine.
Yeah. Reaction: after the conflict phase begins, choose a ring. Until the end of the phase, you are considered to have that ring in your claim ring pool. So there's like certain cards that just say, hey, if you have the Earth ring, you have a free Miyamoto's Fury. Or if you have the Water ring, this girl has a free Against the Waves.
All right.
Or whatever. So, that's where this card interacts with that. Like different cards have, they trigger off of having claimed rings.
And there's a way to get rid of it?
Yeah, you blow it up.
Okay.
But
so I know that almost no shrines would be played voluntarily if you didn't have a way to get rid of it to repopulate your dynasty.
Yeah, I mean you could discard it like yourself.
Well, yeah, you have to wait until the next turn for a result from that.
Yeah, I think this is bad though. I actually think the card's passable. The problem is, so Phoenix has like the broken holding that just gives you a card every turn.
Mm-hmm.
You want to keep that. So if you're keeping that holding every single turn,
no, you don't want this one.
Yeah. Why are you playing that?
Yeah.
Like your deck has to desperately need a particular element to justify playing.
So maybe for a different type of meta.
Yeah. Then there's this guy. So now we're moving into some non-Phoenix cards. So action. After a player passes on declaring a conflict, either player, so that it is mirrored, that player must sacrifice a character he or she controls, and this effect is unlimited.
Hida Amuro. Dash symbol for either military or political.
Yeah, if you leave him standing up for defense, and you declare your military attack, and then you need to declare a political attack, and he just
can't do anything.
Yeah, but he also does make it so like you can't play like one big dude turn 1 if your opponent has that, because then all of a sudden he just dies because you have to sacrifice something and you need like chumps.
Yeah.
To do it. He combos with Way of the Crab in a degenerate way. Combos with Assassination in a degenerate way.
I don't know. I'm undecided.
I think he's sadly good.
Sadly good.
I hate that he's good.
You just cry into a ball.
And
Can't sleep at night.
I get salty when I see what's it called, unhealthy game effects. So like I look at this guy and I'm thinking like, let's say you're a new player and your opponent plays that, don't you just quit the game immediately?
Ouch.
You know, like because a new player is not going to understand that like this guy exists and they're not going to build their deck in a way to counter it. So now it's like, okay, I'm a new player, I'm playing, and if I play one big dude, I just lose. If I play a big dude and a little dude, they assassinate my little dude and then I just lose. Or maybe even I play like two little dudes and they like Way of the Crab one of them and then this dude gets the other one. And it just that's a sort of effect that I think game designers should be pulling away from, not moving towards, personally.
All right, he's good.
All right. Then we got a crane. Some more crane event hate. So after your opponent plays an event during a conflict in which his character is participating, that opponent chooses and discards a card from his or her hand, somehow unlimited.
Doji Shigeru.
All right, so I was having a debate with someone. Would you play this in Crane, knowing that it doesn't have a military skill? Because Crane's
yeah.
like
Crane likes political. Sure.
Yeah, so you just go all in on political. I think she makes your political attacks like unbeatable.
The problem with the dash, though, again, is that you can't somehow beef her up for a surprise military attack.
Yeah. She is also, thankfully, a dynasty card, so your opponent could like see it coming.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think you might just have to like, curl up in a ball against like Crane political because they already have their box. They have her. They have the one girl who just says you can't play events. So, like, you just become Sad Panda every single time. Every time she hits the table. So, like, Crane could have, like, 3 event cancel personalities because the guest of honor is not unique. So you have, like, 2 guests of honors and 1 of her, and you're just like, fuck everybody. They're not going to have fun in this game.
All right. So, is she a green or a red?
I think she's good.
Oh, pushed her in the green.
Yeah, there's a lot of good cards in this pack actually. As much as like I don't like some of the design of some of the cards, but they are making good cards. I think this guy's actually bad, but we can go over what he's about.
Togashi Terakutsu.
Yes,
Another monk.
Yeah, so his text is the defending player chooses the element, but not the type, during each conflict declared against him or her. It's called this choice is made before the conflict type, attacking what's called characters, and the attack province is chosen. So it's more like, I think the way that the card is worded is, I say I'm going to declare an attack on this province. Then before I even say who's going in, you choose the ring as a defender.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then from there, I make a decision. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to send these guys in. So that way, like, I think they worded it that way, so that way there's no information given. So it's not like I say, I want to do a void attack. I'm like, oh, you want to do void? Well, guess what? Now you're doing fire or whatever.
They must place a high value on that to have them cost 4.
Yeah, I mean, he's a monk. So
yeah. All of the monks are overcosted.
Yeah, 43 for 4. Some people like that stat line. I generally think it's trash.
Yeah. You want to get a higher number for what you're paying for, especially if the text isn't really abusive.
Do you think that because it's a mirrored text, so your opponent gets the same effect that you get? Do you think that Dragon has enough defensive capabilities to build a grind style deck to make use of this guy?
No. Dragon seems to be more offensive.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. They're really tempo oriented. And they like to bid 5 and just like ram damage.
I don't like it. Get out of here.
All right, the only card for my babies. I'm just gonna put it in the good pile just because I like Lion. I don't know how to say her name, but during a conflict in which this character is participating, if you control 3 or more participating Bushi characters until the end of the conflict, each participating character you control gains +1/+1.
Ikoma Sanuri.
like it is that it's +1/+1. So you could send her with like 2 Bushi chumps and then trigger your action, and now you just have she effectively is contributing 4 political skill for only 2 mana. And like in Lion, sometimes we kind of have trouble closing the deal on political. Like we have some decent political cards, but we could definitely use like a home run hitter, and that's a home run card. I don't like that she's unique though. That's
Definitely fits Lion. It's a stat booster. That's what Lion likes to do. Yeah, it's solid.
Yeah. Need to keep getting cards. And then you got this card, which I don't even know if it's that good, but relative to unicorn cards, this card is the absolute nut.
Moto Nergui. Wow.
Yeah, so while this character is participating in a military conflict, choose a participating character with the highest glory in the conflict, and move that character home. You get to choose in case it ties. So it never sends itself home because it's 0. But if your opponent blocks with, say, their clan champs, most champs have like 3 glories, so they'll by and large be the highest glory character. You can just shove them home with this card.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
solid.
Yeah. I think if this card weren't Scorpion, it doesn't get played.
Oh.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Since
it's in Unicorn, does it get played?
Only one other choice that they have.
I'm just saying who plays Unicorn.
There's a lot of chumps that play Unicorn.
All right.
But I don't think it's a particularly great card. But it's actually because it's like defensive too.
Yeah.
You know, I want unicorns to get less cards that move themselves into battle. I want them to get cards that pull themselves out of battle.
Really?
So like let's say this card had 2 glory. I might like it more that way because then it might actually have the most glory occasionally. So you throw an enhancement on and then you just pull her out. So you can send her in and like bait defenders from opponents.
All right.
Or something.
Moto's in.
All right, now we're entering the first batch of conflict cards. So conflict cards are always graded on a slightly different curve. So this one's a 50-50. During each air conflict, if you control at least one participating character, and if this character is in your home area, it contributes its skill to your side. So is this a card that you would play? For sure. Or like what sort of deck?
Kaito Kasori.
Yeah.
It's another monk. It's overcosted. Has to be for an air conflict. Nope.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards nope as well. I mean, my reasoning is more. I just don't know where it fits because you'd have to have, in order to really get full value out of her, I think you need to have a way to have multiple air conflicts a turn. So you need to play things like Know the World to be able to get double triggers off of her, or you need to play her with like the Air Sugenja that churns conflicts into air conflicts, so then you double up on her stats. But otherwise, it just feels like too often it's going to be you're playing her just because you need to have a conflict or just a character on the board.
Yeah, too many things to go right. It's not going to, that's just going to go wrong.
Yeah. That's bad. This card, I'll give it 10 seconds. It's bad. Favor of the Kami.
Favor of the Kami.
It gives you +1 glory.
Hey.
It's weak. Like in that, no.
And it's a condition too. No, it's got to go.
Slap that card. All right, it's out.
You don't even want more glory.
Katana of Fire. Play only if you control a Sugenja character. The character gets +1 military for each fire card you control, and attached character gets +2 while the fire ring is in your claimed ring pool. So like there's like the holding that you can just treat as if you have a fire ring at all time.
Man, attachments that cost 1 are kind of expensive.
Yeah. So how much of a boost do you think you need to have to make this card worth? Like in +2, +3, +4?
Did they make this card just to help the other guy out?
Which other guy? The Phoenix Fire dude? From like Corset?
No, the other guy the Fire Elemental guard.
Oh, the one where if you play.
Yeah, it seems like he's in there just to help that guy out. make him useful.
Maybe. I mean, I just look at the card and I'm thinking like from a value perspective, knowing that a fine katana costs nothing and gives you +2 military, it needs to be at least 3.
Yeah,
And even then, I still think that's kind of weak.
that's too situational. I'm gonna pass.
This card,
The Path of
Slight.
Man.
I think it's good. I just don't think it's good yet. So after you win a conflict by 5 or more skill, gain 2 fate. So basically, when you win an unopposed conflict, or when you break a province, you just get 2 fate.
That's good.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cost anything. This is a great card.
I just don't know where it goes because it has 4 influence. So I was trying to like make like a lion deck with it because I knew we'd love this card.
Holy crap!
And
I've
then I'm
never
like,
seen a 4 influence
Yeah,
card.
it's the first one I've ever seen. I'm like, shit, I can't think of anywhere we could put it because if you play the Path of Man, now you're not playing other Phoenix cards that you kind of need to play to justify the Phoenix splash. And then
Maybe it's not meant for splash. Maybe it's meant specifically to play with Phoenix, but it's giving you the freedom to make the choice.
Yeah, and Phoenix has some like pretty aggro cards, but aggro Phoenix has not been viable simply because Scorpion is such a heavy part of the meta and they have such high glory values that if you're just getting dishonored all over the place, then you can't be aggressive. Like the only way you can compete with Scorpion as Phoenix is to play incredibly slow and to play the value game. So a card like this that wants to play fast and allow you, like Dragon would love this card. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, anything that gives you resources or fate.
And that gives it to you quick.
Yeah.
Because you're trading card advantage for resource advantage.
1 card for 2 fate.
Yeah, and so when games go long, you much rather have cards over resources because you keep getting resources. But when you want them short, you want resources over cards. So like this needs to be in like an aggro deck, and I just don't know which deck wants it. But like, I mean, this card's undeniably good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's solid.
Card that's not as good.
Wholeness of the World.
So when a ring in your claimed ring pool would be removed to the unclaimed ring pool, instead you keep it. Max once per round. So that has like a number of effects to it. So on the one hand, if like let's say your deck wants you to have the earth ring in your claimed ring pool, it lets you do that, right? If you have it once, you just get it again. It also locks out your opponent from making the attack on a certain type of ring. So like let's say you're playing a dishonor style deck.
Does this work during the phase where all the rings go back?
I think that's the only time it works.
Well, because there's cards that like grab rings out of your opponent's pool, right?
No.
Oh.
So there's cards that will move rings from your own claimed ring pool into the unclaimed ring pool, but you could use it to lock someone out because also it's only 1 influence.
Man, I think this is actually pretty solid.
Yeah, actually the 1 influence is kind of key. I take it back. It's actually good. Like you could play this in a dishonor, what's it called? Like a dishonor.
Man, locking down a ring. That's really good. You could really mess with someone's game by doing that.
Locking down air ring in particular is the most important.
Why air?
Well, because like
why not void?
Void's a good ring, but the problem is you locking yourself out of that ring too.
Yeah, but if you're playing defensive Phoenix anyway.
Well, Phoenix, when I play in defensively, I want the void ring because like I want to build up that board advantage. But oftentimes, like if you're pushing someone towards dishonor, the only way they can win is if they go take an air ring. And usually the price to play dishonor is you're giving up board position. So your opponent will leverage their board position, at least good opponents will leverage it as long as they can until they can eventually just take 2 air rings back-to-back turn, and then you just lose because you're now out of range for dishonor. This kind of eliminates that, and then
I think it's pretty solid.
Yeah, okay. Good stuff. Clarity of purpose. Actually, I don't know if this is good or not. Oh, no, this one's great. My bad. I was confused with a different one. So, during a conflict, choose a character you control. Until the end of the conflict, opponent's card effects cannot bow that character, and it does not bow as a result of conflict resolution during political battles.
Cannot affect. Wow.
Very wordy.
Well, no, but that's really powerful.
Yeah, so now opponents generally get first action, right? So if
that means Miyamoto's Fury wouldn't work on it.
Yeah, but they'd have to Fury you first. So if like I attack and you're defending player, you get first action, so you can just immediately bow my guy with a Fury. But if like you missed your window for whatever reason, I can Clarity of Purpose. Or it could be one of those things, maybe you do bow into this Fury. I then play Clarity of Purpose. Then I play against the Waves to stand myself. And now you can't bow me again.
It's also a really solid defense card because you play it during a military defense and he's sticking around, or sorry, political defense and he's sticking around for the next military attack.
Yeah. I mean, this card could. I think it's one of the more powerful ones. It's a card that I want in Lion, because.
And Lion.
Well, so one of the problems that Lion has is we actually have decent enough political attackers, but they also double as some of our best military attackers, and we want all of our best military guys to be in one massive military attack so we can, for greater glory, all of them. So what you do is like you Lion Sprite Brawler swing political, use the text to bow a guy, and then I don't care if I win or lose the conflict. It's going to either force a defender to block me, in which case I took out 2 defenders, or they just let me have the ring. And then my Brawler is now available to be used in the military attack, so when I go swing big military, I can drop the For Greater Glory and have my Brawler get the bonus there.
All right. Well, you're only putting 3 of them in. They cost 3 influence.
Yeah, so like with support of the Phoenix, you get 18 influence.
Oh!
And that's why I had trouble with the other card, because I was thinking, hey, I want this Unbow effect from my Lion deck. I also want this resource card from my Lion deck. What if I just play both? Oh, wait, I'm out of cards. Like, you actually can't put all of them together.
Yeah.
Because the other one by itself, if you play 3 of it, it's 12 influence. So you'd only be able to play like 2 Clarity purposes. So you have to drop some cards. And then there's other Phoenix cards you want to put in. So just, even with support of the Phoenix, it's hard to get all of the cards you want for your deck. But I also think, with these aggro cards, I really want to try it within the context of Dragon, because I want to see Dragon with the get 2 resource cards, because Dragon has some of the most powerful cards in the game. They just don't have the money for it. Like all of their best stuff costs a resource. So if they can like blow their load on the first attack, get 2 Fate, and then keep coming again, like that could be pretty insane too.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't know how to feel about this one. Karmic Twist. So choose a non-unique character with 1 or more Fate on it. Move each Fate from that character to a non-unique character with no Fate on it that is controlled by the same player.
So you can keep a little chump, move all the good stuff from the big champion, move it over to the chump.
Well, not from the champion, because it has to be non-unique.
Oh.
So, I mean, there's some...
Oh, this is a terrible card.
There's some big uniques, or some big non-uniques out there, like Neat Master. There's Brawler. There's, what's it called?
Put that in the red zone and get
Doji.
out of here.
What's it called? Guest of Honor. But yeah,
I'm not impressed.
Yeah,
it's very situational.
Your opponent just has to have one... They have to have a big dude that's generic. That's when this card is good. Otherwise...
Well, they have to have 2 generics that's worthy for this to be manipulative.
Well, they're always going to have some chump. Well, most, like, they'll have like some conflict character or whatever, because people like playing chumps in their decks. So there will be a little target. You just need like a big dude that has multiple Fate on it to be like, ha, gotcha.
Holy crow, this next guy's broken.
Yeah. And on this guy. So Interrupt. When the effects of a spell event your opponent plays during a conflict would initiate, put this character into play and cancel those effects. So she's just a counter spell. Like you're almost never playing her as a body.
Yogo Kikuyo. The problem with this, if I'm reading it correctly, is she doesn't cost anything?
No.
That is retarded. This is going to be in every deck.
Well, every deck that splashes Scorpion.
I would just splash Scorpion just for this card.
Yeah. I mean, let me see here. She's 2 influence. So
I mean, it only works on spells, but still, it's a free... You can't put any influence or Fate on her, right?
Not if you trigger her off of her ability.
Yeah. Man, a free character 2/2 to cancel a spell. That's pretty awesome.
Just a cancel for 0 is good, right? Like,
yeah.
Like that's one of the consistent problems this game has is like the cancels don't cost anything.
And there's no. The only restriction to it is spell. That is so powerful.
Yeah, I think they made it just to have some sort of counter to Phoenix, because there's the fear that, oh shit, these Phoenix decks are gonna be all over the place kicking ass, that they make this card. But that's kind of like the wrong response card to make, I think.
That's brutal.
It
Yoko
does.
Kikyo.
It does count against your character.
Prepare to see that card a lot. Or don't play spells.
Yeah. Don't play spells, kiddies. All right.
Guardian Kami.
All right. So this dude, there's going to be two cards that are like this. So this is the Keeper version. The Keeper version is while this character is defending, sacrifice it, resolve the ring effect on the contested ring as if you won the conflict as the attacking player. So I don't 100% know the rules on these, but I'm pretty sure this means you get the ring effect and your opponent doesn't get the ring effect.
Yeah.
So it's like you attack, I declare no blockers. Action, play this dude from my hand. And then if you don't immediately have an assassinate, I just sacrifice him. And then I get the ring and you don't.
Well, no. It just says resolve the ring effect. Not that you get the ring.
No, I don't think you get the ring. Like I don't think you claim the ring for like your ring pool for the purposes of like
But favor. It does stop the opponent from getting the effect?
That's what I need to look up the rule. I'm pretty sure it does.
If it does, then it's great. If it doesn't, no.
Yeah, you think like whatever.
Yeah. So this is going to be dependent upon the ruling.
I'm pretty sure it does allow you to stop your opponent. Because it has very similar wording to display power where you get the effect of it.
And they do not.
And this is the other side of it. So this one's a Seeker version. The Seeker version, same text, but it's while attacking. So you declare an attack, and then just sack this dude, and then you just get the ring.
Kami Unleashed. I like how it's got little hands in the waves. That's very cool.
So imagine this card with Doji Hataru. Because now it's like, oh, guess what? I get to triple or automatically double use it, I think. Well, actually, no, you don't claim the ring now that I think about it. Because I think Doji
Hataru... you could still win.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking Doji Hataru, her ability is after you claim a ring.
Yeah.
Then
this might help you win depending on what ring you're going after.
Yeah, because then maybe they don't try hard to actually defend it.
Yeah.
But free rings are always good.
Free rings are always good. Last card.
And my favorite card. Walking the Way. So, 1 cost. Cost 0 if you control a Sugenja. Action, look at the top 3 cards of your Dynasty deck. Discard a card from a province you control and put one of those 3 cards on that province face up and then shuffle the other 2 back in the deck.
This could be good in a situation where your Dynasty's not looking so great and it's turn 2 and you've got a Shugenja out there. You can put a better Dynasty card into play.
Yeah, like you could just take more chances too.
Yeah.
So like you say, hey, I'm gonna play more Holians, or I'm gonna play more little dudes or more big dudes. And if you play a more disproportionate amount than what people have generally agreed upon is the right mix, if you have a couple walking the ways in your deck, you can mitigate a lot of that variance. You can also activate Spirit Caller turn 1.
Yeah, it's a better version than that Scry card in Crane.
Which one's that one? Oh, the
starter deck card. Corset.
Oh, the perfect.
I think it's 4 cards.
Yeah, that one's from Conflict. This one's the Dynasty.
Oh, yeah.
So like being able to like mess with your own Dynasty deck, it also just makes you more consistent too. So certain decks, they want to have a particular guy turn 1, and they'll hard mulligan for him. So now instead of having 8 chances to get a guy, you have 11 chances to get a guy. And it just makes your deck way more consistent in that sense. That does cost you a card.
Yeah.
So it really needs to be in an aggro deck.
Yeah.
That
you want to mess with your Dynasty more than you want to mess with your Conflict.
Yeah, because if you're playing like a slower deck, you're going to hit all your cards eventually. Like you don't need to get them immediately. But if your deck's like, hey, I'm going balls to the wall, then you want a card like this to make sure you get all your stuff.
All right. Well, go ahead and go down in the comments and tell us what you think is the good and bad cards. And I guess we'll see you next time on Conflicted Dynasties when we talk trash about other stuff.
Yeah. Made it quick and easy. 45 minutes.